What we're going to learn here these next few days is...
Hello. How are you, my lovelies? I'm feeling very allergy ridden. My nose is a little stuffy. But I feel very like regal with my hair in her crown. My crown looking like a crown. My hair is long enough now. We got our jazz going. My hair is long enough now that I could pull it into a situation. I was trying to see how long it was. Let me take these off. I think I'm gonna start. My glasses have been a bit distracting. I started wearing them for you who is just joining me. I started wearing them because I had some trolls on the live that were like, stand up, let me see your dress, and they were being rude. I don't know why my live has been acting super weird lately. I say that every live, don't I? That's better. Put a little bit more light. I have no makeup on. We're vulnerable today. I have a bit of eyebrow situation on and a little quick lippy. I'm trying to get my skin back to clean. I've been like bitten a lot by bugs this summer in my new place because there's tons of trees and a garden. It's not a garden. My friend calls it a garden. It's not a garden. But there's trees and a lot of trees in my backyard. And guess what? So I got a new puppy. Her name is Molly. Well, she's not a puppy. She's 3. I rescued Molly on Sunday, right? So I'm like, I'm going to go. We're going to do walks. She's American Staffordshire, which is an American, it's nicknamed Amstaff. So she's a cousin of a pit bull, but she's not a pit bull, but she's a cousin. The DNA is pretty close. So this is just me, by the way, all my replay viewers. This is just me chatting before the show starts. I started 10 minutes early, so I'm just gonna be chatting until people join, because everyone's getting the notification right now that I'm live, and so I'm waiting for people to join. So if you're my replay viewer and you want to get to the topic right away, go ahead and fast forward, and you'll see me holding up, I'm not gonna do it now, but you'll see me holding up my book, and that's when you'll know that we've started the show, because that's part of my intro. So anyway, so I go out today, I'm walking the dog, and I'm having a great time. I'm out there, I'm praying in the spirit. For those of you who don't know, I'm praying in tongues, right? I'm a spirit-filled Christian, so I'm like praying in tongues, hello, hello. I'm praying in tongues and I'm walking. I'm having like the best time ever. I'm feeling like so like powerful and like amazing. Like I'm taking my dog out for a walk and this is in the morning. Like everything is amazing, right? So I keep walking. I get to this place where on the inside I'm like, maybe we've had enough. But I was like, I'm really curious to see what's around this bend, because it was like a dirt road, but then it wasn't dirt. It was like asphalt that had been like really beat up, right? So I'm walking. The dog's tired. I can tell she's panting a little bit more and it's hot. It wasn't that hot, but she was panting. So I turn around and I'm walking, and what do I see? Ah! I see a snake. It was the size of a pencil, but it was... I was jumpy. Like, first of all, I saw a little slithering thing the size of a pencil and the same like width of it, right? So I take off running, okay? My dog's not on the leash. She's such an obedient dog. I don't have to walk her in the leash, and there was nobody really around. People started coming around later, but I take off running, and the dog thinks we're having a great time. Like, the dog thinks, oh, this is fun. We're running together, because she doesn't normally run. I'm in my head thinking, I just saw, I don't want to say it, the little slithering, I I just saw that. I'm running for my life. Okay? Now, of course, the little thing couldn't have done anything to me. But I was jumpy the whole day. So we get home, I'm open, like I ran, okay? Call my friend, I'm like freaking out on the phone, like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe, I can't calm down, I just saw a snake, right? It was traumatic. It definitely was traumatic, but here's the beautiful thing that happened. So I call my friend, and we're chatting about it. I'm freaking out, she's telling me to breathe, I'm trying to breathe. I get home, opening the door, and my dog Molly runs by me and hits my leg, and my skin was already like creepy crawling. I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? And I scream. So that was my morning. But the beautiful thing about it is this, right? Which is very strange. I was listening to, I think before we went on a walk, I was on Instagram listening to Jada Pinkett's web series that she's doing right now, and today they're talking about gratitude, and she said that she's now learned how to be thankful even for the problems that she has, right? So I'm thinking about it, and like I get home, I call another one of my friends, he's trying to scare me, and he's like, watch out, they could crawl into your house and get into the toilets. And I'm like, I don't really, you're not really helping me right now. Like, this conversation is not a help at all, okay? So I'm sitting out on my porch looking at my backyard because the grass is a little long. I need to cut it immediately, okay? Because I'm thinking like, ah! Anyway, I knew they were here, but I didn't know that they were here. And yeah, anyway, so my dog was having a good time running with me, not even thinking like I need to protect my owner. She was out. She was like jumping excited. So I get home, I'm sitting on the back porch, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm really thankful for that experience. Because although by the time I'm going to be like all jumpy and weird, I reject that in Jesus' name. So by the time that I saw it slithering, I never saw the head or anything, I just saw the body. It was like a very little thing. I was off running, but that adrenaline, like I realized when I got home, although it's like, I don't want to be around it ever, right? I actually wasn't afraid, which is very surprising to me. I faced it, nothing happened, although I ran, but I hadn't seen a live thing since I was probably 10 or 11 when I went to the zoo and they had the python out and we were like holding it. Hadn't seen a live one, like in the wilderness, which this was not a wilderness. And here's the thing that's amazing about that. I've been taking my dog, I got her on Sunday, there's like a little creek situation. I've been taking her there because it looks like the beach, the sand, and she like loves, running in the water and all that stuff. I'm thinking to myself like, yo, if I was in that situation and I can't even imagine. Like I can't even imagine if that were to happen. I don't want to think about it. We definitely not going back there again, but we did it twice. And even that day, like the same area, God is so good. He protects us. The same area, I was down there with her playing in the water, right? Looking around, but not like really looking around, not really thinking. I'm always thinking like, I don't want to see that S word. But like, I wasn't thinking about it when I was down there. So I see the thing, I come home, I'm like, I wasn't really scared, but I was so thankful because I had gotten up this morning. I have had a beautiful day. Although it started with that scare of me seeing a snake, it's been a beautiful day because I got up intentionally thanking God. Like the scripture says, today is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. That scripture has had so much juice and power in it. Every time I say it in the morning, I am instantly energized, right? So I said it this morning. I'm thankful and intentional. Like, this is the life I prayed for. These are the days, these are the type of days I prayed for, that my time would be my own and that my time would be devoted to serving mothers and their daughters in navigating sex and sexuality and relationships and empowering them to be confident in themselves, to have these conversations so their daughters have a safe place to go to that has, they can have a real conversation and ask real questions. Like, these are the days I prayed for 5 years, right? Sometimes we got a minute. Sometimes before the show officially starts, sometimes and you've seen the meme before, like, take a step back and remember the things that you have right now were things that you prayed for yesterday. And that just hit me today. My day has been intensely and beautifully intentional. Had my client calls today. My client call, I have a coach. So I had a call with my coach today and broke down some limiting beliefs that I've been dealing with. And I was all in with the coaching call. Had a beautiful coaching call with my client today. So amazing, so powerful. She was excited after the call. I was excited after the call. It was amazing, okay? So I don't know. It's just like, I'm excited about life, and I just want to communicate that to you all today. That is not the topic we're talking about. That is the preview, but it is 10 o'clock. It is the time for the Good Sex Talk Show, our good, juicy, delectable hour of the day on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday, where we come together and we help each other. I help you. My name is Coach Yema. I help you close the gap between your sexuality and your spirituality. I want you to understand that it is two sides of the very same coin. Our sexuality is our desire to know and to be known. Our spirituality is our desire to know God and be known by Him. So in understanding and embracing them together, bringing them closer together, you will have a greater experience both in your sexuality and in your spirituality. That is the goal, right? Because sexuality has been a hindrance for many people in coming closer to God and getting to know Him, because like I posted today, people misunderstand and think that religion and God are the same thing, and it is not, right? Religion can come off very anti-sex. Hey, Leslie. Religion can come off very anti-sex, and God is not anti-sex. God actually does want you to have very good sex. Okay, but we have had a lot of help misunderstanding Him. And so because of that, people in their sexuality, exalting their sexuality above their spirituality will tend to push away from God because they think that He doesn't understand, or they think that He's a prude. And because of that reason, because I was definitely one of those people who felt exactly that way and did not want to talk to God about sex, because I never talked to my parents about sex, right? Funny story, my father called me, 2 days ago, and he's like, you're online and all I hear you doing is talking about sex. I'm like, yeah. He don't sound like that. He's not country. He's an African man. All you're talking about is just sex, sex, sex. I'm like, yes, sir. Generational curses must be broken. All right. Okay. So because I was one of those people who felt like God was prude and didn't want to talk to me about sex, or couldn't talk to me about sex, or didn't even want me to say the word sex was a bad word unless I was saying sexual immorality, and I was fleeing from it, I felt that way. But I am a highly sexual person, and I have dealt in many ways and many fashions with my sexuality in so many different phases of my life, and it is my calling. And now I see why, because I have gone through the paces with my sexuality and my relationships and all of that, and understanding myself, understanding others, understanding God's perspective, understanding His will, His desire in that, and moving beyond where I felt that God wanted me to just have boring missionary married sex, to understanding that actually it's a gift, right? And He created our body in this way that I can love my body, I can know my pleasure landscape, I can fully embrace my sexuality and in the same time fully embrace my relationship with God all together, all at once. It's not a separate thing, okay? So I wrote this book because I thought God was a prude, and he took me through a process, and this is the process. So it's called Good Sex as Well, as the show is named, because my mission definitely is to preach the good news of God's way, okay, of God's sexuality. I am here to preach the gospel of sex in Jesus' name and help people understand, go through the process, because I take you through 10 steps here, and it's for single women to get healed, get set free in their sexuality. And last week I talked about what sexual brokenness was. What does that mean? How can you tell? If you missed it, go watch it. You'll find it on the feed here. What does it look like to be sexually broken? What does it feel like to be sexually broken? How can I see that in other people, right? Like, what's happening? Okay, so that's what we talked about today. We're talking about sexual brokenness, but in our college years, right? How ready were you? You put it in the comments for me. Oh, I didn't even fully do my full intro. So yes, the book, if you are liking what I'm saying, please go ahead and engage with me. Hit the like button, hit the heart. If you're angry about what I'm saying, you said, whatever you're feeling, hit the what are they called? Emojis, interact with me. Like, comment, share this video with your friends on your timeline. I don't care if you have 2 friends. I want you to share it because it is a conversation that we need to have, that we have to get comfortable having, because I think we assume that everybody feels maybe the same way that we feel, or has the same understanding that we have, or maybe the same level of freedom that we have, and that is just absolutely not true. I have learned that over and over and over again, that a lot of the times, probably 99% of the conversations I have with people, I am the first person to talk candidly about sex and include God, include Christianity, include the spirit, right? So I'm the first one, and even to talk to women about the anatomy of their bodies and what this means and where is this and why this does not come out of the same hole and all these different things. I'm the first one, and I am completely comfortable with that because that is my calling. But my calling is to get you as comfortable, because I can't reach the people that you can reach. So if you're listening to me and this is powerful to you and this is like impacting you, share it, right? And you be that person that someone can come to and have that conversation. And if you're still scared about it, let them slide in my DMs. Okay, let's talk about it. Let me, navigate through that conversation for them. So for tonight, the topic is college years. Okay, parents tend to relax if they think like, oh, I'm gonna get my kid through high school. We're not really thinking about college, because at that time we're thinking academics, we're thinking getting your degree, we're thinking oh, I thought I had charged my computer. It's on 9%. It's playing the music, which you probably can't hear anyway, so that's fine. And it's actually burning me up. It's really hot on my leg. So parents think like, we got them through high school, the rest is up to them as long as they graduate, right? But the thing is, when you get to college, it is your first years of true freedom without your parents, and everything that you learned or didn't learn comes to the surface very quickly. Most mistakes, right? If you don't learn how to navigate sexuality, and you don't learn how to navigate relationships in high school and at home with your parents, you get to college and you have to practice these tools and pull them out of this place that you really don't know exactly where you're pulling them out of. Maybe you're pulling them out of the romantic comedies you've seen, the sitcoms, your friends' conversations, their experiences. And I know for me personally, I didn't have a boyfriend in high school. I had a lot of crushes. I didn't kiss anybody in high school. I was the nerd, right? 4.0. Actually, I had a higher than a 4.0 GPA in high school, top 10% of my class. And I was in that space. And my father was very strict about that. And so I was home. I don't care how old I was home before the street lights came on. That's a reality. I was watching Preacher's Daughters the other day. She's like, Dad, you can't make me do that. I'm thinking like, my dad made me do that the whole time. So I was home, I was studying, I was watching TV. But here, and still my father, my stepmom, whoever, because I had a lot of guardians in and out of my home, were not speaking to me about these things in a very real way that I was able to translate the skills that I learned in high school to college. And so when I got to college, freshman year, although I was there and I was doing well in school, as well as I could, because I got distracted by relationships because it was new to me. And now I had the freedom to go ahead and have relationships, and I was not prepared. Okay, this life skill, because we think there's the new thing going on right now, right? So adulting, everyone's an adult. We need to learn how to budget. We need to learn how to buy a house. We need to learn how to cook, grocery shop, like the little things that the generation in front of us. Because I'm in my mid-30s, so technically I'm a millennial. So the generation that is like before, what is it? Older than us are shocked that we don't have these basic life skills. Well, the reason why we don't have the basic life skills is because you didn't teach us. We didn't have a financial management course in high school. The only course I remember taking, it was so impactful that I remember learning how to sign a check, which I had never learned before. And I think I was in like 11th grade. No one had taught me, and I knew it was something I needed to know, and I like implanted it in my brain until this day. When I'm writing a check, I go back. I don't write checks anymore. But when I used to, I would go back to that class. That's how impactful that was. But many people, many of us, most of us do not go to college with the life skill of learning how to navigate a relationship. Even if you did have relationships in high school, even if you did end up being sexually intimate, vaginal, penetrative sex with someone in high school, you were still dealing with high school emotions. So you, even though you may have had those experiences, didn't get into your college years, right? The ages of 18 to 22, right? Or 18 to 25, depending on what your situation was. So we got to these ages and we didn't know how to navigate. And most people now still don't know how to navigate. Like my first boyfriend was freshman year. I had 2 boyfriends. Okay, here's my little story. I'm going to tell you a little something about me. Okay. My first boyfriend I met on blackplanet.com. Who remembers Black Planet? Put it in the comments. If you are an African American or Hispanic person, you know blackplanet.com was my first boyfriend, and he lived in Maryland, and I was in Johnstown, PA, going to the University of Pittsburgh on the Johnstown campus, right? And so that was my very first boyfriend. I went out to see him, and guess what happened? Right, okay? He was a virgin, okay? I didn't consider myself a virgin since I was sexually abused as a child, so I don't consider myself that. I had consensual intimacy with him when I got there. Like my first boyfriend, I didn't know how to navigate the situation. I just thought, well, this is what happens, right? You date someone, of course, you're hanging out together, this is what you do. I had no idea what consent was. I had no idea what birth control really was, right? Because my dad opted me out of those classes anyway, so I didn't take any sex ed. So I literally, right, was the most vulnerable person to every mistake that you can make. By the grace of God, I've never had an STI, okay? By the grace of God. So I was completely vulnerable to that season of my life, and I've had to, since then, teach myself, right, with Holy Spirit, walk me through learning what the life skill is about navigating sex, sexuality, and relationships. It's not till, when I really started taking ownership of that. When I was in the process of writing this book. When I really started understanding that I really could, not that I would accept, let someone rape me or anything. I don't know that people let anybody rape them, so don't hear me saying that. But to actually say no, or that this is not pleasing to me, or I don't want to do this. I didn't have a clue in college. I was clueless in college. So I'm just thinking, who else, right? What do we wish that we would have known going into college, because it's not, you get to college, 85%, and I think the number is even higher now, 85% of people are not even using the degree that they went to college for. I know that I am one of them, okay? I was a pre-med biology major, okay? Finished it out. I got to my last year of college and realized I was really excited about psychology. I was really excited about human sexuality and neuroscience and all of that, but it was too late because those were my elective classes for senior year. So, and I aced them. It was amazing, okay? So I realized at the end of college, this is who I was after I have gone through all this other stuff. But the major lessons that I had to learn in college at that time was how to navigate through relationships, how to navigate sexuality, how to deal with a boyfriend who would say the wildest things to me. And of course, so that was my first boyfriend on blackplanet.com. Excuse me. And then my second boyfriend, because I pick him so well, was this Caucasian young man. I was 19. He was 26. It was like a second chance program he was in because he was a felon. He had just come from prison. He had just come from prison, child. And I fell for him so hard, okay? And I'm just thinking, I didn't know what to look for in a relationship at that point in time because I wasn't prepared for these things. At that point in time, it was just good enough that he liked me, that he saw me. I had a crush. I had crushes in high school, but now I have a crush in college and he actually likes me back. What? Okay, my acceptance and self-esteem was like, come on now, I'm going to give you whatever you want. And my roommate at the time definitely didn't help because she was dating way, way older men. Like they were in their 30s, right? We were 19, thinking, oh my gosh, he's so old, he's 30, right? So it wasn't helping the situation. So we go into college completely unprepared. We learn all these different, or the college years, not necessarily everybody went to college. We get into the college years and then we go into, after 25, into our adult years. If you didn't know it then and you weren't intentional about learning how to navigate that, having that life skill of navigating sex relationships and your sexuality, what makes you think that you've learned anything more, that you're just not building upon the brokenness and the dysfunction that you kind of survive through in your college years? Like, we all need to learn how to navigate that from a very real, free, authentic, whole place, right? A whole perspective on who we are, accepting our sexuality, embracing it. As mothers, right? Being intentional about communicating the beauty of sex. So here's the thing. People who, what country is it? I think it's the Dutch. The Dutch people have lesser rates of teen pregnancy. They have more increased delay in sexual activity for younger people because they teach the pleasure of sex to their kids. So they're not teaching abstinence, not that there's anything wrong with abstinence, but they're not saying just don't do it, okay? Obviously, it don't work, okay? So instead of just saying what not to do, they come from this holistic. I can only imagine if I had that kind of conversation in in high school before getting to college. I can guarantee, and I'll say this all the time, I can guarantee that I would not have engaged in the activities that I did engage in college and years after that. If in high school, when I had the questions, when it was so vitally important as in me forming my identity, becoming an adult woman, if I had had a holistic conversation around sex and sexuality and spirituality, and coming from a place of, this is a gift that God's given you, it's beautiful, right? It's pleasurable. It is amazing. Probably the best thing that you'll ever experience. And here's the thing. If we don't tell the kids that it's supposed to feel good, especially for young girls, if you don't tell them that it's supposed to feel good, they end up in these situations where it doesn't feel good and they think that there's something wrong with them, right? And so eventually their pleasure becomes secondary to whoever they're with, and in that way they are sacrificing their body at the altar of that other person's pleasure, right? And we've all been there. We've talked about this before. But in college, right? And I'm speaking to my mamas today, and okay, young ladies, married ladies my age. We have to, if you have a college age person in your life, okay, if you know a niece, a nephew, mostly the girls, a niece, cousin, whoever, if you can get in her ear about having this conversation that adulting isn't just about balancing your checkbook, but it's about balancing your body, right? Balancing your relationships, knowing what a healthy relationship looks like, knowing what a healthy relationship feels like. Now, you got to know it for yourself. If you don't know it, grab a book and y'all read it together. Hey, Christine, grab a book and read it together with them. Adulting includes the life skill and it is the most important life skill, because that is the place where we can make the biggest mistakes of our lives. And pregnancy and STIs, those are pretty, Lorraine, those are pretty, big situations too. I'm not going to call them mistakes. I don't believe a child is ever going to be a mistake. I was not born in a married situation, so I'm not going to be, saying that you having a baby is a mistake. You're not going to hear me say that, okay? If you have them, it can be unplanned, but a child is never a mistake, all right? So those are not the biggest things that can happen. Your identity, your ability to enter into healthy relationships, your ability to maintain a healthy relationship, not only with other people, but with yourself, is a skill that we can learn, okay? It is a skill that we can learn. It's not something that I think that most of us think you just kind of figure it out, right? Life happens, you just kind of figure it out, okay? Or you go on Instagram, or you go on Facebook. I mean, most people are on Instagram now, right? And you scroll down and you read the inspirational quotes, and it feeds you. Or you go to Pinterest. Pinterest is like my favorite therapist when I'm feeling something. I know within myself that when I get to Pinterest, because I don't have the words for what I'm feeling, I'm not looking to feel better. I'm looking to feel validated with in my emotions with someone who is just as broken as I am, who's writing those words. To be honest, okay? You be honest with yourself as well. By the time you get to Pinterest, you're just trying to wallow. You're trying to get to a place where you can grab that ice cream, put that movie on, or your bottle of wine, whatever, however, it works for you to go through your emotions. But you're not really looking for healing. You're not really looking to learn a new life skill or strengthen a life skill that you were supposed to have, right? Starting at a very young age. And if you don't have it now, well, how do you build it? So let's move on. Hey, VIP, let's move on now. How do you build that life skill of learning how to navigate relationships, how to navigate sex and sexuality? That is part of being an adult. That is one of the, I would say, the second most important skill that we need to have as an adult. The number one skill that we need to have is showing up in relationship with God. That's number one, okay? Number two, we need to learn how to show up in relationships with other people, especially those who we were in romantic relationship with. So you've heard this before. When the devil wants to jack you up, he'll send a relationship, right? A romantic relationship. I know for me, when things start getting kind of heavy and God starts calling me to a higher level in him, I look around in my relationship, I'm like, I did it. Oops, I did it again. Okay. I start looking like, oh my goodness, I think I'm going to have to, and I'm really okay with that now at this point in my walk with God, that if he says this person doesn't belong in my life, I know how to say goodbye and trust God to take care of them. It was very hard for me before because I didn't want them to feel bad. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. And I still don't want those things. But at the end of the day, if God, who loves me more than I love myself and loves you more than I love you, right? Talking about this other person. And he's saying that this relationship is not supposed to be. He'll take care of the consequences. I just have to obey. I'm very good at that because I know that whatever relationship I'm in, if God's telling me that is going to take me away from my purpose and steer me in the wrong path, that is my biggest fear in life. Literally, my biggest fear in life is to live my life without purpose, is to miss my purpose, is to live without making the impact that I want on the world. I tell God this all the time. I don't really care about being married. I really don't. What I really care about is showing up for my purpose. So that's number one skill, relationship with God. Number two is having the skills to navigate your sexuality and your relationships. If you don't know how to do that, I don't care how rich you are. Look at what's his name that killed himself just the other day? Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire that was sex trafficking underage girls. Billionaire, okay? They arrested him while he was coming from Paris on his private jet. Was sexually broken in himself and broke a lot of people in his brokenness. Ends up killing himself. All the money in the world. Kills himself. Because he didn't have the life skill on how to navigate relationships and sexuality. I don't care what you have. If you don't know how to do this, you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay? We see around us all the time a lot of toxic relationships. I see it all the time. Toxic people in toxic relationships that are caught in a loop. Right? Now just imagine all of the energy, because when you're with somebody, the Bible talks about when a woman is married or whoever is married, their attention is split between service to God and service to their husband or whoever that person is, their partner, right? And so it's supposed to be that way. So just imagine all of the energy that you put toward being in relationship, that you put toward in maybe catching someone. I don't know how you look at it, okay? I'm talking real now with people my age, all right? And trying to catch someone, all of that energy, and you are building that relationship, you're building that experience from a place of brokenness because you were never taught the very important life skill on how to navigate sex, relationships, and sexuality. So we're jacked up. I taught myself. I'm still teaching myself. I have not arrived yet. Okay? I get in the Bible. I talk to God. I am very real with him. So number one, in building the life skill, okay? Number one, get this book. Okay? Number two, be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Be so honest with yourself. And I'll say this very plainly. If you find yourself in a sexual relationship with someone right now, whether it be romantic or it be a casual situation, very plainly, it's going to sound crude, but it's a good sex talk show. So I don't think it sounds crude. I'm just prepping your ears for it. If when you are into sexual encounters with that person and you're not achieving orgasm and you're not achieving pleasure, but you're there because whatever reason, there are myriad of reasons why women stay in relationships, okay? And you're not that very basic situation, you're not achieving that. That should be a sign to you that you're not fully showing up for yourself. That you're choosing, again, I'm going to say it, you're choosing to lay yourself down at the altar of someone else's pleasure. You're so much more worthy than that. We are so much more worthy than that. We get, as women, to own our pleasure. When you can own, and this is why I'm saying it, when you can own your pleasure, when you can say, I deserve this, the decisions that come after that will be so easy. So easy. Because it's you becoming whole, right? It's you saying, I deserve more than this. I deserve, because the beautiful thing about a woman is, most women, I want to say, I'm not going to generalize. The beautiful thing about a woman is her body is not going to allow that level of pleasure and ecstasy for her to experience it if she's not aligned with herself. She's not feeling safe. She's feeling used. She's feeling dirty. She's feeling an obligation. She's performing. If you have all those things going on, mama, it's time to let it go. Even if you have to step away temporarily, right? Let it go. And I'm saying this on purpose because here's the truth. Our sexuality, okay, these are the life skills that we should have been taught at the age of 16, 17, right? That we should have known these things. Our sexuality is such an intimate, romantic sexuality. It's such an intimate part of who we are. When we are whole in that, God told me this before. He said, the reason why I have given you sexuality and purpose to talk about is because of this. People who are not able to say yes to pleasure, not just sexual pleasure, right? But say yes to pleasure, will not be able to follow and pursue their purpose. Because your purpose is that place, and God told me this, is that place of ecstasy in God, in union with Him. Because this is the thing that you were made to do. When you get into that place, and every day is not going to be roses and ponies, right? It's going to be hard, okay? Because I'm in there right now. It's hard, but it's beautiful hard. But it's that place of pure joy with God because you have to stay in constant conversation with Him. And that's you choosing your pleasure. That's you choosing your destiny. That's you choosing your worth. If you want to pursue purpose, but you can't understand that you deserve pleasure, that you can own it, that you deserve to enjoy that cake, or you deserve to enjoy that glass of wine, or deserve to enjoy having really nice clothes or a nice house, if you can even own that, and then to translate it into your romantic relationships, that you deserve to be honored and feel worthy, that your body deserves to be fully actualized, we can't pursue purpose. It's not possible. It's not. Okay? So what I wanted to communicate today, I can't tell what time it is because my computer died on me. First, I want to thank everybody for joining. So that's Tuesday's show. We'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday, okay, at same time, 10 o'clock. Again, we are doing 26 episodes for this season, for the summer season of the Good Sex Talk Show. And then we'll be back for fall to continue the conversation. We'll take a quick break in September and come back for the fall season, okay? Maybe we'll come back at the end of September. I'll still be going live and having, different popping in here and probably do some daytime things. But as far as the nighttime talk show goes, that gets very real, gets very raw, gets beautiful, relevant. I tell you, I look forward to these conversations because it's the moment, it's the thing that I prayed about doing for so long. When people at my job were telling me, like, what are you going to go do now? And I was like, I get to go talk about sex. So this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be real. I wanted to be raw. My clients are mothers of teenage girls, and I want to help them have these conversations with their girls. But I know also for the women who are college age years, okay, 18, 19, up to 25, and even up to my age, I want to have these conversations for us as well, for us to heal together, for us to learn together, for us to empower each other, for us to know that you're not alone, right? That you're thinking these things and you're not alone. Like, someone's gone through it too. I've gone through it and I've learned a lot of lessons, but there are a lot of things that you can teach me as well that I want to learn, right? And so I don't have the corner on the market of sex and sexuality. I'm passionate about it. This is what I was called to do. This is what I am called to do, and I will continue to do it until I take my last breath on this earth. I am committed to this thing, okay? So that's why I have these talk shows. That's why I want to open up this space, right, for safety and for sharing. I tell you guys, people send me DMs and they're telling me, thank you so much, please don't stop having these conversations. Nobody talks about this, especially in the Christian environment. No one's really talking about it. No one's really bold enough to not care what people think and talk about it, right? Depending on your situation, you do have to be mindful, because like I had to be in my previous position, but now I'm fully in my calling, and I prayed for this. I prayed for these days, and I am full, so full today of gratitude. So if there's anything that you heard me say today, I hope you heard all of it, that, you know, adulting isn't just about balancing a checkbook and budgeting, okay? Or pursuing a career. The most important thing, the two things, a relationship with God, a real relationship with him, where you show up and you be raw and you tell him, I don't like this pissed me off, right? All of that, and have that conversation with him. And then another thing is to learn how to understand and honor the fact that it really is a life skill on knowing how to navigate sex and sexuality and relationships. It is a life skill. So we'll continue the conversation tomorrow. We'll be here Wednesday and Thursday. I think I'm gonna post a picture of my beautiful baby Molly so you all can meet her. She's so precious, so obedient. She's laying right here. I left the room to come and do the live, and she's laying over here right next to me. She's so sweet. I'm gonna let me see if I can post. I can't post a picture of it right now. Let me see. Nope, I can't post a picture. So I'm gonna post a picture so you stay on the page. Make sure, my beautiful people, like this live, share it, comment. I do go back through and read the comments from the live. So I'm so happy you joined me tonight. You have a fabulous Tuesday. Today's Tuesday? Yes. Have a fabulous Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow on Hump Day, okay? Bye.